Small business people tell the Prime Minister about the threat posed by Chinese commerce and say they prefer diplomatic relations with Taiwan. The head of Britain's second largest supermarket chain voices support for a local banana industry in crisis. Marshall Montano speaks in an exclusive DBS interview about his latest mega project in St. Lucia. And Peter Josie documents one of the most turbulent periods in local political history in a new book. Good evening. It is Wednesday, January 25th, 2012, and this is the DBS News World. I'm Onel Sanford Bell. Thank you so much for joining us. We begin tonight with news that the St. Lucia Industrial and Small Business Association has written to the Prime Minister complaining of the threat posed by Chinese commercial interests. As a result of the threat, the association appears to be in favor of St. Lucia maintaining diplomatic ties with Taiwan rather than return to China. In its letter to the Prime Minister, the association says the majority of its members view the Chinese modus operandi as posing a threat to their existence. The letter urges that the new Labour government take this into consideration when making a decision on whether to establish diplomatic relations with China or continue ties with Taiwan. The Small Business Association says it assumes it will be one or the other. Earlier this week, the St. Lucia Manufacturers Association and former Foreign Minister Rufus Bousquet expressed their concerns about the impact of Chinese businesses on locals. DBS's Pete Ninval begins our news coverage tonight with this report.
The Small Business Association's letter of December 20th, 2011 notes with gratitude what it calls the ionic infrastructure undertaken here by the Chinese when St. Lucia had diplomatic ties with China. But Association President Flavia Cherry says at a general meeting, members felt diplomatic relations with Taiwan would be more beneficial to St. Lucia since Taiwanese support is based on capacity building.
On the other hand, they consider the kind of interventions by the Chinese government as being the kind that allows for imported competition. Whether it is real or imagined, members are of the view that with the Chinese interventions, which seem to bring in a lot of countrymen from China to actually implement the contracts, that this somehow leads to more of the Chinese coming into St. Lucia to establish businesses.
The SLISBA president says members of the organization would prefer St. Lucia to have diplomatic relations that respect the indigenous business culture. According to her, members feel the Chinese competition is too wide and all-encompassing.
Although we understand and accede to the fact that we live in a globalized environment and must accede to global trading rules, however, members feel that there should be some areas that are reserved for local and indigenous businesses such as bakeries, and members feel that Chinese intervention somehow is going to lead to increased competition for the private sector, especially the small, medium and micro enterprise sector.
Ideally, Mrs. Cherry says, SLISBA would like to have the matter discussed at the sub-regional level. She disclosed that the Caribbean Association of Small and Medium Enterprises will be meeting soon, and the Chinese issue will be high on the agenda. For the DBS News World, Pete Ninval reporting.
Chinese-owned businesses, meantime, continue to do brisk business despite the controversy, and some locals have been defending them, saying they're pleased with the service and products they provide. Here is DBS's Cecil Actil with more.
The Chinese-owned supermarket in downtown is buzzing with activity despite the current economic crisis. Customers were shopping away, some for the first time, while others were regular customers.
Most of the time they say like you want a half bag of flour and you cannot afford, like most places you cannot afford, like you have a little business running and you cannot afford the half bag of flour, then you'll walk in at okay, you get a little 5 pounds, like you know, for $4, you want the sugar the same way, you cannot buy a half bag or quarter bag. You know, you buy a little $4, which is £10. So if let's say like you want to retail it, you can still put it on your little scale in your little shop and still make some out of it. So I feel they're doing a good job.
It's a good supermarket. Yeah, a lot of good quality foods and everything. They're doing a good job, I think. Yeah, so far so good.
You get value for your money when you buy from the Chinese store?
Sure.
Okay, so you get value for your money. You think you're doing a good job here?
Yeah.
The grocery store is Chinese owned but offers a wide range of products that are manufactured locally in China and in the United States.
Why everybody is gravitating to your supermarket? What are you selling? What